Welcome back. Welcome back. Be strong, courageous, mental health. I am your host, Hiawatha, aka Bishop H. And today we're going to talk about a topic that is very necessary. Some aspects might be a sensitive topic, but we do want to get into suicide today. We've got our foundation laid for the first few episodes, but now we really want to start to dig in and help provide some help for folks out there on this topic. So I'm going to bring in my co-host, Brother Jims, who's going to give us some symptoms when it comes to this suicide of this topic on suicide. Brother Jims.
What's up, man? What's up? How everybody doing, man? Well, this is a very, very serious topic, and we are taking it very serious because I personally have lost someone very close to me from suicide. The symptoms, I don't know if I wasn't around when probably a few months before the person actually did it, so I don't know if this is the symptoms that that person was dealing with as I share. But what I do want to do is and the reason I want to talk about this aspect of it is because I've had suicidal thoughts in my life. I had moments where it's like, as I was going over these, and when you listen to them, you'll see how real this thing is. And so as I was going over these symptoms and looking at it, I was like, bro, this is some accurate information right here. So what I want to do starting out is I want to definitely share and show, you know, uh, these symptoms that I think highly important. So some of the warning signs, I'm gonna get into it. Some of the warning signs and the thoughts that people have includes talking about suicide for one. That should be obvious, right? They make such statements like I'm going to kill myself. I wish I was dead. I wish I hadn't been born. When you think about it, we know a lot of people who probably have had these statements that they said, and we don't take it serious. But a lot of these statements comes from those symptoms and things like that that people display, like depression and all these kind of things. That's where most of it come from. Another one, getting the means to take your own life, like buying guns or stockpiling on pills and things like that. Withdrawing from social contact, wanting to be left alone, having mood swings, being emotionally high one day and deeply discouraged the next. Man, wow, this is it's real. Being preoccupied with death, dying, or violence. Even if sometimes when people have suicidal thoughts, a lot of times it includes wanting to harm other people and stuff. It's a lot. Murder suicide is a big thing in our country. People feeling trapped or hopeless about a situation is another symptom. Uh, People start to increase their alcohol or drug abuse, addiction, changing your normal routine, including eating or sleeping patterns, doing risky or self-destructive things such as using drugs or driving recklessly, giving away your belongings or getting affairs in order when there's no other logical explanation for doing so. And the last one is developing personality changes or being severely anxious or agitated, particularly when experiencing some of the warning signs listed that we just talked about. So, bro, man, when you really pull the layers back, we can see how serious suicide is could be for the majority of the world, bro. What you think about that?
100%. And the biggest thing is like we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention to the people that are in our circle, whether that be family, friends, co-workers. We really have to pay attention. I know sometimes we get so self-absorbed in what's going on in our life and our next mission and our next errand and all those type of things. But this really is a something that we have to address together. You know what I mean? In terms of really paying attention to what's really going on. But I did want to read some stats off to you guys just to show really the propensity of what we're dealing with, here in our country. So, wanted to read some stats. Over 48,000 people took their lives in 2020 alone, 2021, I'm sorry, alone on suicide. Um, Another 12.3 million had serious thoughts about suicide. 3.5 million made a plan to actually carry it out. Maybe actually came up with, devised a plan to actually carry it out. And then out of that 3.5, 1.7 million actually attempted to take their lives.
Mm.
So obviously, those are some startling numbers that are out there, and just like the things you said, it's a lot of that is derived from the essence of it is hopelessness, you know, uh, and then you can just really go on down the line of why someone in their mind might contemplate like, you know what, I just don't even want to be here no more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not valuable. And there's all these different lanes that send people down that um, I don't want to be here. I want to take my life. All the things that you noted, in the symptoms of suicide.
Right.
So yeah, man, let's go ahead and get into it because I think this is a huge topic, and we want to have some understanding. We want to be on the lookout, and then we want to at the end of this thing really address some operational things that we can do, and uh,
Yeah.
maybe even throw in a challenge to get some progressional things taken care of.
For sure. Also, I was checking out like some causes of suicide, and it says most often suicidal thoughts are the result of feeling like you can't cope when you're faced with what seems to be an overwhelming life situation. If you don't have the hope for the future, you may mistakenly think suicide is a solution. Wow. And that takes, because being a believer, that takes us back to understanding that there's a process that God gives us, and it says suffering produces perseverance, perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. The last thing the enemy wants us to have is hope. So he like for us to stay suffering and never persevering, because if you persevere, you will develop a character. And I remember a stat, and I want to ask you about that stat you were sharing with me earlier about the 17% with the young people. But the reason I just said that is because the Bible says the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So he want more than anything in this world for you to kill yourself. That's what he wants, because he knows that I have robbed them of the life that God really wants to give them. And I also robbed them, their family or whoever their loved ones, of having real heart to heart connections and communication with them. The enemy knows that, because I believe, and we'll get there later, with I believe a lot of the healing that comes from the healing that we need to get to overcome suicidal thoughts and things like that comes from communication. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I just realized it's all about taking away hope. And when you're faced with overwhelming decisions or overwhelming life, unexpected things happen, we think the solution is like, I might as well not even just be here. Bro, how deceptive is that, bro?
It's very deceptive, and the thing about this um, battle with mental health is it's always going to come back to belief system. So if you really unpack the symptoms that you were giving out, those are the symptoms that are of a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not valuable. Nobody likes me. It's too hard. And so the reason why I say that is because I said earlier, when it comes to the mindset, it's like we talked about it. What is your expectation? And so when we don't have the correct full expectation of something, it can be hard. And if we've never taken on any adversity, had to work through anything, it can be very easily get us to a point of, I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that, because we have never been given, or I should say, there's no operational steps to get beyond it. You see what I'm saying? Like, even biblically speaking, John 16:33, God said, in this life you will have trouble, but take heed, I have overcome the world. You see what I'm saying? So, like, that information is important to help your psyche out. You know what I'm saying? It's setting the stage, saying, look, they're gonna have some things that are gonna happen to you, but it's okay. I've overcome those things.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So if you're dealing with individuals who don't have faith based, you're doing it with individuals who don't have certain information, their expectation of what their life is supposed to be or what they're supposed to do or what their value is going to be altered. And
Mm-hmm.
when that is altered, now it's going to take you down a path of, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. This is too hard. I just want the pain to go away.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, let's take this head on and be okay with it and work it out.
Right. And this is what you just said is why I think motivation is dangerous. Let me show you why I say this. When you're motivating someone who's demotivated, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, watch this. It's very hard to motivate someone who's demotivated. You without actually getting into the person's life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is why I just said that I think it's dangerous. The reason I think it's dangerous is because it's almost like not being picked for a team,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, well, this message is I just need a, you know, man up, or I just need a this or that. And when I really need is one-on-one counseling, one-on-one help, want somebody grabbing my hand. Because guess what? I might didn't have that my entire life. I might didn't have no one, and now I got someone just coming in to motivate me without giving me the proper steps of overcoming. It's just like figure it out, do the hard things and all. Well, any good personal trainer knows that. Think about what I'm about to say. Any good personal trainer knows that this is a process. That person is not about to drop 100 pounds off in a month, right? That's not normal, right? So the even a personal trainer know this is a long process. So when you give a basic, just and this is the danger of a story too. You give your story of how you overcame and what you did, right? But how does that truly help somebody when they need you one on one? See, if I come through and just plant a seed and just keep going, I can plant a seed of motivation or encouragement. Do you know the difference between, well, I ain't gonna ask this. There's a huge difference between motivation and what the Bible calls encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
Encouragement is giving someone the courage to live out what God has called them to live out. Motivation is just saying, bruh, quit crying. You know what I'm saying? Buck up, whatever the case may be. Encouragement is like takes time. Encouragement takes like maybe some constant. I'm in their life. I'm constantly checking in. I'm constantly keeping this person encouraged because the goal should always be that this person I'm helping is going to help someone else.
No, that's 100% true because encouragement moves on the realm of empowering that person.
Yes.
You want to empower that individual. A lot of times people will struggle in their mindset, especially when it comes to suicidal thoughts, of feeling like they have to do it on their
Their own.
own.
That's right.
They have to, like, a lot of people don't have, well, they feel like they don't have enough people that actually care about them, their life, their goals, the things that they want to do. But they feel like, I need somebody to support me, to help me. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are saying, oh man, I'm so through with life because it's hard. And that's why, like I said, John 16:33 is so important. In this life, you will have trouble. But from a kingdom standpoint, if we're attentive to our neighbor in terms of making sure that they're okay in all capacities and they feel support, they feel acceptance, they feel love, they have some additional guidance to know that, like, hey, it's not all on you, or hey, it's okay to be down here and there, but hey, let's buckle up and let's get back after it. That's encouragement, that's empowerment. Hey, God has designed you to do these things. You see what I'm saying? And so it's just like, we get so caught up in, unfortunately we get so caught up in the standards of the culture, like I have to be a certain thing based off of these standards. Oh, if I don't do these certain things, then I'm not deemed as successful. If I don't get this certain education, if I don't make this certain amount of money, if I don't do all these things and check these certain boxes, I am not worthy. I'm just going to take my life. And we have to get people away from that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We have to get people in a mindset like, hey, It's okay. Let me devise a plan. Everything is not, let me say it again. Everything is not supposed to work out every single time. That's not realistic because God told us in John 16:33, in this world, in this life, you will have trouble.
It's
But
not
take
always gonna
heed,
work out.
I've overcome it.
And and as we transition to the part where we need to especially address like how to overcome, how to help, how to things like that. For us, that's a light. This is why let me bring myself in. For us, that's a light. Listen to this. For us, that's a light. This is the goal that the king of the universe is looking for. In Matthew 25:34, listen what he said. He says 34, 24, 25, 34. The king will say to those on the right, come, you who are blessed by my father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. So if you're a light and you know people are dealing with these things, right? He said, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came and visited me. Think about what he's saying. We should have, as a light, we should have eyesight to be able to discern when somebody's dealing with a suicidal tendencies, thoughts, symptoms, but let me slow down a little bit. We should have the insight to see those things, and then we become initiators, interceders, people that is very in tune with what to do next. And I think that is highly, highly important to help. So the reason I said all that because I want us to understand that and be strong and courageous, what we're doing here and while we're addressing it, we have people that want to be help you one-on-one. We have people that want to be in your life, helping, counseling, to get you to a place where you're now helping and counseling and mentoring and things like that. So I want you to address that for the public too. Like the operational steps that we have in place over here, what may people may can do right now at their homes where first they need to reach out, you know, to be honest. But if you have anything that you can give people right now, man, to share of those steps or anything of that nature.
Yeah, well, if it's yourself that are dealing with these thoughts, or even if it's someone that you know of, the number one thing is to bring it to light. In other words, make it known that you know that they're feeling some type of way. That's really the first steps, and I'll tell you why. I lost two of my teammates to suicide. One was my high school quarterback, and the other one was our running back in college that I played with. And the reason why I say bring it to light is because my high school quarterback basically took his life on Christmas Eve in a hotel by himself. He attempted to reach out actually to our high school coach who was having people over, never took the call. The point of the matter is the I'm not a mind reader, but I can speculate the level of loneliness to take your life in a hotel room by yourself. All right, he had just broken up with his girlfriend, so it was a lot of things that were catalysts up to this moment. So the first thing is bringing light to the conversation, paying attention. The other gentleman, my other teammate from college, similar situation, was going through a depression bout, married, had the perfect life outside looking in, highly intelligent, all American academically, great wife, great kid, great job. The American dream. But we weren't paying close enough attention to his situation and ended up taking his life. And I promise you, if I could have lined up 90 guys on that football team, Tim would have been in the top bottom 5 of people that I thought would ever take his life based on what he had going on. So we just have to be very attentive to our surroundings with the people that we're engaging with on a day-to-day basis and not be surface level. Like when you ask somebody, hey, how you doing? How are you doing, man? And that's why it's so important to have, like in our case, we have a men's group where we could speak candidly. You know what I mean? And so giving people a place where they know, hey, man, anything that's going on in your life, you can come to me, no judgment. That is huge.
Ain't that how God is?
That is huge. That is exactly how our Lord and Savior is. Hey, come to me with all your transgressions and all your junk and everything. You know what I mean? And so it's important that you have interactions with people and let them know, like, hey man, if you're ever just on a whim, hey man, if you ever going through anything, no judgment, come to me. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure you're straight. That is a key component of allowing someone to open up, as opposed to, I'm just going to harbor these feelings, I'm just going to handle it, and these are the thoughts, and I'm just going to keep them to myself. So, some first steps is us letting other individuals know, like, hey man, if you ever got some stuff going on, this is what it is. You can always check in with me. But two, the next thing we want to work on is, for the folks that are having those thoughts, why am I having those thoughts, is getting in a position to, let's change what's going on in terms of our mindset. How do we do that? There's a lot of operational things. The number one thing we can do is we can plan, we can have positive intake, but we can watch our habits. Very important to watch our habits. So those are just a couple of things that I wanted to throw out there. But you guys are going to want to reach out to us, drop your information in the comment, direct email us on Be Strong and Courageous, and we can set up some one-on-ones to get really more in depth on how we can handle this topic.
Most definitely. And thank you so much for that, because that's what we're trying to do. Mental help and mental health is so important. It's the most important tool that we would have. When I say tool, is God gave us all a brain, right? So our brain and how we think is the most valuable asset that God has given us, because it directs and it says where I'm gonna go and where I'm not going. And the thing about suicide and what it does in our mind, it says, I'm not doing this no more. I'm giving up.
Mhm.
So what we here at Be Strong and Courageous want to do, we want to say, Jesus said, I came to give you life and more abundantly. He also, when he came to Jeremiah, he said, before I formed you, I knew you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And I just stopped right there, because he didn't call everybody to be a prophet, but understand what I'm saying. So before we was even born, God said, I knew you. So if God says that about us, our creator, don't you think that there's a life that is worthy to live on this planet? Well, that's what we want to do here. We want to help anyone that's out there struggling to get to that life, to get to that place in life where he says, now you're a good tree that's ready to bear some fruit. And that's our goal. We want to help you become a tree that's able to bear fruit for your creator. And you have purpose, you have a life, you have all these things that God wants, that has given you, that he wants to use to impact others. The last stat before we leave, man, can you go over that stat real quick about the young people?
Yeah, the stat was, in the ages of 10 to 14, 17% of that age group committed suicide. It was the number two way that age group passed away, that died. 17%. The only thing that was higher was accidental injury. 17% from 10 to 14 took their lives when it came to having these troubles in our lives. And so that's a staggering number. That is a staggering number. So what that lets us know is, the mental health realm, when it comes to suicidal thoughts, is starting at a very young age. And it's just like, if you're a parent out there, if you're an uncle out there, if you're an aunt out there, please pay attention to the youth that are around you. Whether you got nieces, nephew, your own personal kids, get into what they have going on. Really dig in. Don't have those surface conversations. I know a lot of us like, oh yeah, hey, how was your day at school? You know what I'm saying? Like, really dig in and figure out who they're hanging with, what they're thinking about, what their goals are. Have some conversations that are of substance. But more importantly, like the symptoms that Brother Jim's gave at the beginning of this podcast, be on the lookout for that type of stuff. When you have something that just changes or becomes erratic, or behavior or different things like that, there could be something that's going on with that individual that makes them feel like, man, I am super depressed, I don't want to be here, I am unworthy, what is the point? We want to be able to catch those things on the front end, because to have a group of young individuals between the ages of 10 and 14 that are taking their lives, more importantly, anybody that's taking their lives, but to be at a a point in your life so young that you feel like, you know what, enough is enough. That's it. I'm out.
Mm.
That's very alarming to me. And as a piece of encouragement to anyone who's struggling with suicidal thoughts or knows someone who's struggling with suicidal thoughts, um, be encouraged. I say this all the time. We have, roughly 8 billion people on the planet. Roughly 8 billion people on the planet. God made only one individual exactly like you, just one. So what that lets me know is, one, he got it right the first time. He doesn't think that you're not valuable. But two, there is something that you as an individual out of 8 billion people have to bring to the table for the kingdom in a positive outlook. So he wants you here. He wants an opportunity to have that relationship with you, for an opportunity for you to build kingdom habits and not be concerned about what the world is telling me I'm supposed to be. Because I believe that is a huge thing that we jockey back and forth in our minds in terms of determining our self-worth, or can we make it through this day. But I think that's all we got today, folks. Once again, comment, send your requests, reach out to us directly on our Be Strong and Courageous platforms. We'd love to do some one on ones if you need it, get some more detailed information. But that's all I got, Brother Jims. Anything you want to close with for the folks?
No, just a challenge, man. If you are really just to challenge us, reach out to us, challenge us to see if we are about what we really say, what we saying right now in this. I know there's a lot of different personalities on YouTube where they just love for you to follow them, comment, like, subscribe. We trying to get in your life, involved deeply in your life, because we look at this thing like there is a real war out here, and there's a war for your soul, and the enemy wants that. So the reason I say it that way is because test us, test us, see if what we're saying we stand on, because I know that it is important to have life on life, especially when people are dealing with all kind of horrible mindsets. I get it. I've been there. I've been there. And that doesn't mean I can't ever get back there, because there will always be moments. We never get to a place where we're perfect or we arrive. So don't think that, we will always have thoughts and things like that. But the more that we are doing this thing life on life, we will be overcomers of what we think and how we perceive this world. And so that's all I have. Reach out to us. Be strong and courageous 777 at gmail.com. And it's just B, the letter B, no BE. Be strong and courageous 777 at gmail.com. And we will get back in touch with you. And we will be here to see you become strong and courageous and mentally helping other people also. So that's all I got, brother.
Go out there, be the light, clear eyes, full heart, strive for righteousness. Peace.